The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Buffaloes coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmanzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Exciting time to be a Bengals
How do you
fan.
balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time?
Yeah.
Shock the world.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. He is Zim. I am Ace. Zim, how you doing today, bro?
Doing pretty good. Just putting in another 8-hour shift that Ryan was just telling me about. He was like, bro, you just be on those spaces, whatever. I called Ryan out early on it too. I wanted Ryan to come up and grab a mic because I had to let everybody know how I packed him, Mike up, packed up Joe Goodberry. I packed you up. I packed up everybody. You looking at your fantasy football champion. Them people on Bengals Twitter, they're not going to tell you that the champion been right here the whole time. So I packed them boys up. So I was telling Ryan, come step up. But we've been doing a lot of work out here, man. I feel like we got to this point where we got an amazing show again for y'all tonight. So make sure y'all letting people know that we're putting in a lot of work on here. And I feel like it's going to go hand in hand with the Bengals winning. So we're counting on you.
For sure. So on today's show, we'll be talking about the matchup against Buffalo in the divisional round. So we'll be breaking down Josh Allen versus Joe Burrow. Then, as Zim mentioned, we have a special guest. Zach Carter is going to be joining the show live. And then we're going to talk about Smoke 'em If You Got 'em for our viral fan. He's going to also join us later on the Wincinnati podcast.
Hey, what's up, Bengals fans? Mike Hilton. I'm on the Wincinnati pod with Ace and Zim.
All right, we're going to go ahead and bring in Bengals defensive tackle rookie out of Florida, Zach Carter. Zach, what's up, bro?
What's up, y'all?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you taking some time out to join us.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling tonight, Zach?
Man, it's playoff. It's round 2. I feel great. I've been feeling great since after we got the victory Sunday. Yeah. I've been feeling red. My mind shifted immediately. Round 2. Let's go.
Right. I said that. I see the smile on your face. You're looking healthy as I don't know what. A lot of people at this point be like, man, what's up? Like a little sore or whatever. Coming out of a game like that, talk to me about it. Like this is your first time doing it in this AFC North rivalry. Seeing this team 3 times online. I'm going to tell you, Zach, I can't stand them. They get on my nerves. I feel like they're jealous of y'all and they hate on y'all so crazy that it drives me insane. Talk to me about the rivalry. What did you get out of it from your first year 1, Bengals going up against the Ravens?
Man, that first game, I remember that first time we played them in Baltimore, they got us, and that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And that was like early in the year. I didn't really know like as much about the rivalry. And as the season went on, I started to understand and like learn about like our history with Baltimore, like our rivalries and stuff like that. And I just knew like the next time I seen them, like it was up. Like I was ready. I was ready to see them boys again, So especially getting to see them 2 weeks back to back is like, man, let's go. Like
back to back and the back to back AFC North champs for sure. Nah, that's where it's at. What are your thoughts on playing with a guy like DJ Reader and BJ Hill? Because obviously you're the young guy coming in. You had a lot of potential, but what has it been like playing with those 2 guys and just learning from them your rookie season?
Man, honestly, it's been a blessing to come in the situation I'm in, like to be able to come in and learn from guys like DJ and BJ. Like they both had different games, but I take different things from both of their games. Like I'm really in a room with a bunch of dogs, man. Not even just DJ and BJ. Like I watch everybody grind. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, man, I see like the technique that they play with and just the passion they play with. Like I think that's the biggest thing, because when it's Sunday, like nothing else matter. Like it's wartime. You know what I'm saying? So I just watch what drives those guys, and I kind of just feed off that energy in the room. Like our energy in the room is contagious. I feed off of that.
Do you feel like because it's so contagious, and if y'all watching live on our YouTube, I know it's different people listening to this on the podcast. If you're watching this or whatever, and then you see some of these plays, this is like a play, like even in the latter part of the game. Let me ask you this: what makes this team so special? What clicks? What is so crazy about the second half of these games where you guys seem to turn it up to a different notch? And teams that were successful in the first half, I call it Ludini, but Lou Anarumo, like what's the Ludini special? What's the sauce that like makes it just go crazy in a second?
Well, just being on different teams and then I see a big difference on this team. Like when we go in the locker room at halftime, Coach Lou, he on it with the adjustments from front to coverages to everything. Like he be on it. And if you hear like the guys talk in the locker room, like amongst each other, like, you know, we could be down or it could have been a half, but we know we could have been better. You just hear guys like lifting each other up. There's no pointing fingers. Like it's none of that. It's just all positive energy, and everybody feed off of that. Like it's really contagious. Like I'm not even joking when I say that. Like we in the locker room, like, man, we need a turnover. Like who gonna make that play? Like right now, like everybody feeding off that energy. So I feel like when you got that kind of when you got that kind of bond in the locker room, it's hard to be beat.
Nah, that's facts, bro, for sure. Obviously, you got a big dude in Josh Allen. Y'all didn't get to finish that game for obvious reasons, but he's coming back and he presents a challenge. What do you think personally is going to take to beat a guy like Josh Allen in the Bills?
Well, when you watch Josh Allen on film, you know, he loves to extend plays. So I think that's number one. Like he's a big guy. He can move. He could scramble outside the pocket. He's not just gonna stand there. He's gonna try to get outside the pocket and create extra plays. So I think the most important thing, you know, to stop Buffalo, you got to stop the run game first, and then when you shut down the run game, you force them to throw the ball. But when you throw the ball, you just gotta kind of rush them in a certain way. You know, cage them in. I seen he like to scramble. A lot of times, Josh Allen gets out in the B gaps, the A gaps. Like a lot of people watching him on film, like they leave those lanes open. So caging him would be really important. Like keeping him in that pocket, like not allowing him to get outside the pocket. Because when he does scramble right and he try to make throws, he can make a good throw. So if we eliminate that, I feel like we'll have a good chance.
It's crazy that you said that. I literally was telling somebody like those open lanes, like in the interior, it's so important for teams to stay disciplined in what they do. And then I watch teams collapse it like every single week, and I think it's dope. The one thing I do think about, and I don't know if he showed it that much, and I will hope that like Ludini kind of got some sauce for this though. And I keep on thinking about it, and I don't know why. And I feel like because you said that, I think the design runs, I feel like they've been holding that out until like this moment right now. Like for some reason, I don't know if it's just like fear or I'm worried or whatever. Like I feel like him with design runs is about that. Like they about to try to do that. And I was thinking about that when y'all played the Falcons, and I don't think they really got a chance to do it as much as they wanted to with like Mariota at all. But I feel like this is the one because all year, you know, he had the elbow issue and different things like that. That's something I would be like kind of checking for. Do you see anything on tape that you think that or from a preparation standpoint you think about him running the football like with design runs?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We seen all those looks in practice. Like we prepared for every look, like quarterback runs. We seen some on film, so we know they're gonna come because you know last week we played Baltimore and Huntley got a couple runs on us. So, you know, we know they're in the film room. Like, okay, we could do this on them, do that. So yeah, we're expecting it.
So another big play from that game, you talked about Huntley. Obviously, you guys made a play, knocked the ball out of his hand. Sam Hubbard ends up with it in his hands. 98 yards later, everybody is going crazy. Do you think that you could have run that far, or do you think that you could have run it faster than your boy Sam Hubbard?
Man, Sam was sliding. Now they clocked the I think they clocked his miles per hour. He hit about 19. That ain't bad for a big boy. Now he hit
Yeah.
19. But in the off season, man, I know I'm a D tackle, but you know I have a certain point in my off season. We train like we do hundreds and stuff like that. So you know those times you never know when it's gonna come, but you always be prepared to run the whole field. Like we do those training. They might not be full speed now, cause I get tired, but we definitely train and we run hundreds. So that situation came up, he was ready for it.
Yeah, you a Florida boy, so I know you got that speed, man. That Florida speed hit different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We were talking about this off camera too, and we talked about that run just now. Like, me and you were talking off air a little bit too about some of your games. I thought the Ravens game, I thought you was cooking. Like, that's my favorite Zach Carter game. And somebody asked me to cut on the tape, because from a run defense standpoint, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know, like, year one, is this guy gonna come in the north and be able to, be able to go up with them dudes? Like, these are not small people in the AFC North. And I remember my partner here, he was the first person I remember putting me on game of what your sack production and your pressure rates was looking like, out of the SEC. I think a lot of people don't understand from a 3-tech standpoint what you brought to the table as far as like just pass rush ability in the SEC was like second to none at the point. Do you know, is there a favorite moment that you have this season, whether it be run stuffing in the Ravens game, or is it any pass rushes or anything like, or it could just be with the game? It could be with the game. I don't know. What's your favorite moment that you could kind of highlight rookie season being on this team?
Honestly, I mean, outside of winning when we won the North, like I felt like we accomplished something. Then I mean, not our end goal, but like winning the North, that's the number one goal. I say that was one of my favorite moments. But like on the field, I say it was this one play from the second Ravens game before the wild card game.
The AFC North, like, that's the official we won the North game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a play from that game. I was in a 4-hour alignment on Ronnie Stanley. I think they was like on the 5-yard line. I was in a 4-hour alignment on him, man. I kind of got like, they tried to block down on me, and I knocked them back, and I got outside the block, and I ran down and slammed King and Drake. And I was like, man, in that moment, I'm like, man, I'm really doing this in the AFC North. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah. And you should, dude. That's what you gotta feel like right now. I was telling them boys earlier today, I said, I don't care what nobody say. If you see a guy in the trenches putting in work like how you doing now, it's not like, now all the doubt that you might have had before, all that's gone. Like, now it's time to kill these dudes on Sunday, bro.
that's the thing, bro. Like, once you start to get the confidence, you make some plays. That's how most guys is. Like, that's how it was in college. I know it's the same thing. Like, once you get your feet wet, you take off from there,
For sure, bro. Well, before we let you go, man, I gotta ask you, bro. I need your top 5 defensive linemen personally all time for you.
Personally, okay. I'm gonna go with Aaron Donald. He one of the greats for sure. And I want to say J.J. Watt. I'm naming a lot of guys from my era, because I know even before I was born, I know it was some dogs now.
Right.
Oh,
Like, you naming people you actually had a chance to see.
yeah, like
Right.
I never got to watch like Lawrence Taylor. Like, I never got to watch him on a Sunday. Or like Reggie White. I never got to watch these guys. But like, I know they like that now.
Yeah.
I say Aaron Donald. I say J.J. Watt. I also say I go with I want to say Geno Atkins.
Yeah,
Geno,
that's a good one.
Geno was a menace. I also say I say we don't like the yellow people now. But I get Cam Hayward as props now.
Yeah, no, that's real.
And then dang, I could even
Ooh,
I could even say TJ Watt, man. Like
sheesh.
Yes, no,
Hold
that's
up,
not a bad five.
two bumblebees is disgusting. I'm not even gonna hold you like
oh,
that.
that's
Is
why
just
I said we don't like the yellow people, but
You could throw. What about, because there's always a debate. Who do you personally feel like, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt? That's a back and forth in the AFC North community on that one.
I mean, has Myles Garrett, TJ Watt had a 20 sack year? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is true.
yep.
Has Myles Garrett done that yet?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
damn.
Nah,
I
I
mean,
think he had an 18 sack.
I want to
I
say
don't know.
TJ Watt. TJ Watt won Defensive Player of the Year, and
yeah,
Myles Garrett. I don't know. Myles
This is a
Garrett,
crazy.
he good too though. Like, but TJ Watt a game changer. Like he catching picks with one hand and all kind of stuff.
nah, that's real.
And he not small. Like it. Let me ask you this. Let me ask. What's a dude that you know like that's in the league, trench guy? You know what I'm saying? Somebody up front, defensive line. It might have been the dude you went to school with or something like that. What's the guy you feel like is super slept on that nobody really talk about?
It's a lot because like the thing about the trenches, like if a dude not like just getting a bunch of sacks, then a lot of people don't really know about him. Like they just see like the sacks,
Right.
but they don't
And
see.
see, you know, us being Bengals fans this year, I was just having this discussion with somebody just now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the way that Lou's system is and the way that you guys funnel people to like just make quarterbacks uncomfortable and pressures and collapsing pockets, or you might drop seven. So of course, you're not gonna have like a lot of different situations. We're gonna have sack numbers too. So I
Right.
feel like being a Bengals fan, I've like learned a lot more about like you know, like it's not all about sacks. I almost feel like sacks is like I ain't gonna say it's not. It doesn't mean anything, but it's a little bit more. I'm more interested in pressures,
Right.
like pressures, even knockdowns. But you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes them pressures and them QB hits lead to
Right.
some picks on the back end, whatever.
For sure.
I about see in the guy I'm about to say he dang near lead the league in all these categories, but he doesn't get the same attention. But I was gonna say Max Crosby from the Ravens.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. He a
Mad,
dog.
he a dog. Like I sat down one day and I just watched his highlights. Cause I mean, if you do a film breakdown, it's probably different. But like he gets after it. Like he relentless too. Like
I thought you was about to say Trey Hendrickson.
I mean Trey. That's the thing though. Trey a Pro Bowler, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he. I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah, yeah. He not slept
I
on.
he
mean,
slept on.
he still is slept on from point of view, but he was a Pro Bowler, so that's why I went with Max Crosby because you know.
Nah, Mad Max a solid pick for sure.
Nah, baby.
Don't want to take up all your time, bro. I feel like we hit on a lot of good stuff. We talked about like scheme and different things. I've been so excited to watch her glow up. Last time I seen you was in New Orleans. The vibes was like amazing. We was on 10, so I'm real happy to catch up with you again. I want to congratulate you on just getting to this point, healthy, balling. A lot of people don't get that far, and you go into the second round. So it's a dope thing to watch happen in real time. So I'll be watching every single thing you do, every single play. So I appreciate you coming on the Wincinnati pod. Do you have
sure,
anything
bro.
that you want to tell the people moving forward, where they can follow you at, or any message that you want to just tell the Who Dey people that are listening right now?
Now all my social media is Zach Attacks, ZACH, Zach Attacks. That been my tag on Twitter and Instagram. And I just want to say, thank you to the Who Dey Nation. for welcoming me in this year, and I love our fans, bro. Like we got Cincinnati, like it's not the biggest town, but our fans got a lot of passion and the support is real. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in as well, man. Who they?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
And y'all.
Hey, man, that's dope, man. That was my favorite pick of the draft, bro. You already know. As soon as I seen the highlight, it was funny because I was looking at his highlight tape and I looked at the numbers and I was like, nah, this is the dude that we need in the trenches, holding it down. And it was dope that ended up being who we ended up getting, man. But yeah, dude is cool. I think, like you said, he's on the rise now, bro. Like the run game, like how you said, he really stepped it up last week in the run game. He's also going to do some things on the pass rush standpoint. But yeah, we appreciate him for his time. Zim, we got to talk about these Eric Weddle comments, man. He says that the Bengals were outplayed by the Ravens and we have zero chance against the Bills. Now, he is a former Raven.
I hope Zach still see this part. I hope Zach see this part. He said that the Bengals, Zach, if you can still hear me, he said the Bengals do not have a chance.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, to say that the Bengals were outplayed in that game, I don't think that they were, personally. Did the Ravens do something? Sure. It's AFC North football. It's playing a division rival back-to-back, literally. And you still were able to come out of that. And you were dealing with a situation where you had players go down, right? You talk about the offensive line. Guys had to step up. Jackson Carman jumps in. Max Sharpen is starting. So they weathered the storm in a situation. And good teams find a way to win. No matter what it is, they find a way to get that happening. So to say that we had a zero chance against the Bills when the Bills literally were almost within a false start of losing to the Miami Dolphins is kind of wild. With Skylar Thompson as their third quarterback, a guy that only scored 9 points the week before, and he put 24 on you. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that he was off of that purple. He was off of that purple before he came on.
Zach just texted me. He said, man, what I was going to say is tell that Ravens Pack kid I said what's up.
Yeah, I don't know how he got cut out. Sorry about that.
He for sure. See, I know me and him, we laughed about that, but that Ravens Pack kid, like people know about them. Like I know guys on the team definitely look at the Ravens Pack kid. We're going to have him later on the show if y'all ain't know, but yeah, man. Eric Weddle, man, I was telling you and Ryan this before the game. I feel like there's a whole bunch of people that have like hard takes. A lot of people feel like they've been true to their gang. Like he's a former Raven and all these different things. And so I always just be looking at the messenger and like, where did that guy come from? But it's just like one of the society, I almost look at it like junk mail. Like I just see junk mail sometimes. And I'm just like, that's not even really in my inbox, bro. I don't even really got a thought. Now, you know me, though, after this game, we're going to have to go and circle the block and find Mr. Weddle. So that's a whole nother story. But aside from that, though, bro, I'm for sure. I wish I'd have told Zach Carter that just now. But I'm going to send it to him, though, if he hasn't seen it. But I don't think, like, I feel like our players don't need, like, extra motivation. And they see a lot of stuff for sure. Like, right. And I don't know. I think the fans get more hyped off of it than the players. You seen how he was just now, like, yeah, bro, let's go second round. I'm like, yeah, like you don't look sore. He like, yeah, I look like he look fresh as hell. Like he ready to go to war right now. So, man, I feel like if fans like get riled up a little bit, and players probably use it, but at the same time, Eric Weddle ain't strapping it up on Sunday.
This crazy to me because he just played the Bengals in the Super Bowl, so that was a little bit of a wild statement to make there. But let's talk about
the worst offensive line, and he won by, you know what I'm saying, you got out of there by that hair on your chinny chin chin.
Right. So let's talk about the game plan offensively. Obviously, this is a decent Bills defense, even though they did give up that many points to Skylar Thompson, the likes of him. This is a solid defense, right? So offensively, I feel like the way to really attack this defense, since they're pretty good against the run, is to still play balanced. I think you can catch them off guard. I think a lot of the Bills are probably assuming that the Bengals are going to come out, and I've been hearing a lot of they think that we're really a one-dimensional team. The Bengals are not a one-dimensional team. We've seen the Panthers game. We've seen games where Joe has cooked with the offense. You're going to have to get our Migos, as we always say. It probably sounds like a broken record. You get them out in space, get them the ball. We saw in that Monday Night Football game how they were not ready for this Bengals passing attack. I think that's going to be a major key. Limited turnovers on our end is always going to help you. But I think, like Brian Callahan said, you got to put the ball in number 9's hands. Put the ball in your playmakers' hands. We saw Hayden Hurst. He was a factor, especially if these guys try to run that zone. If they do run the too high look, that's going to be a Hayden Hurst factor. That's going to be a Tyler Boyd factor. We saw something, or at least on the Monday Night Football game, I thought something that was interesting is they moved Jamar Chase on the inside as a slot, kind of as a decoy. Put Tyler Boyd on the outside, and Tyler Boyd ends up getting a touchdown on the outside. Moving these guys around, I think, is also key. Zim, what are your thoughts for the offense? Like, what do you think we need to do offensively in this game?
Oh, man. This game, I feel like, is a better matchup than the Ravens game, and I know that Bills fans do not like that. I've said this all season or all week at least. The Bills play more cover 3 than any team in the National Football League. And if you don't know about cover 3, it leaves like these open zone areas behind, like, you know, at the second level for the outside. What do the Bengals want to do? Take their one-on-one matchups because it features a free safety being single high, right? And then they'll generally have like a safety in the box area to make sure and run support or be able to make plays. Think about that Monday night game. Damar Hamlin goes on the blitz. What does Joe Burrow do? Balls out. He goes to Hayden Hurst. Think about the Jamar Chase bomb. Nobody's showing us cover 3s. And if you're a Bengal fan, think about the Falcons game, the Saints game, early in the Jets game, the Dolphins game. These are all games that have what? Big shots thrown down the field, one-on-one matchups, and an extension of it was the Bills Monday night game. Once you do that, and this is very key, the biggest matchup of the game for real is Jackson Carman has to be able to hold up. Jackson Carman has to be good or average. And if he can do that, and the Bengals win. The Bengals straight up just win. But along with that is that I feel like the part that people aren't talking about is the fact that the one thing that's made Bengals methodical this year is cover 2 shells. So now the biggest injury to me in the game that nobody's talking about is Hyde, is the safety. And the reason why they play cover 3 is because they don't have the opportunity to do what we do with 2-man looks, cover 2 shells where you got Von Bell and Jesse Bates. They don't have the ability to do that because now a backup safety in Marlowe or whatever is now the guy. That's not what they're going to do. They want to stay true to what they do. And if they do cover 2 in their own stadium, now the communication areas, all these different things, because you've been primarily playing cover 3 all season. I could see them doing it, but I just think that all the underneath stuff, think about this. If you do go cover 2, the difference is the Ravens had the personnel, and I think that if you were to ask me, I think their linebackers are better. It's going to be super debatable because I know there are a lot of Milano enthusiasts. But the one thing that happened is Marlon Humphrey learned from last year, you can't just press Jamar Chase. So they gave him hella cushion in the cover 2 shell, and then Jamar Chase was getting all that stuff underneath. T. Higgins had a little bit underneath on the outside. And when they did, you know, what did they do? They tackled him, got him to the ground really quick. Even if Jackson Carman, in the worst case scenario I could think of, doesn't hold up at left tackle, the ball's going to come out quick. The Bills are the 32nd ranked defensive tackling team in the National Football League. So Jamar Chase underneath with Zach Carter's buddy, Kyer Elam and stuff, is a tough, tall task to say, hey, suddenly I want to be able to now throw the football, and I'm counting on a rookie or Tre'Davious White, who's 5'11". You're going to put him one-on-one with T. Higgins. Say you want to bracket Jamar Chase on that side. Let me give you one stat. Buffalo allows the 7th most open field yards in the National Football League. Cincinnati allows the 2nd fewest. Buffalo allows the 7th most second level yards in the league at the second level that I'm going to be attacking. Cincinnati allows the 8th fewest. That means that outside of their defense line, Buffalo cannot tackle in space. Even in a quick game, I trust Jamar Chase. I think it'll look a lot like that Saints game. I really do. Like the plays that he made in that game, even the game-winning one, I think it looks a lot like that just off of breaking tackles and stuff. And Joe Burrow just give me a clean game. I do think that Joe will take more chances in this game than what he did in the Ravens game. And that's not a bad thing because I don't feel like they have the coverage to do something. And that's not to say that the Bills are a bad defense. It's just a better matchup for the Bengals on what they want to do. Because now a lot of things in cover threes, you're not going to get the flats and the checkdowns as much as you want with the quick game. Right. But the quick ends, the quick hook routes, the quick slants, different things like that, they'll be open for you too. So there's so many different things that they can exploit. And I remember on that Monday night, it just looked so good because it comes out in the cover 3 shell. And I just don't think that the Bills can get away from what they've been doing all season.
Yeah, for sure. If you get behind the corner and cover 3, it's over. It's over. Speaking of defense and corners, let's talk about the defensive game plan. For me, I think that is going to be something where it obviously lives and dies with Josh Allen, how you play him. I think that they have to give him some zone looks. They also have to bring some pressure, whether that's with Mike Hilton on a blitz or whoever it is, Logan Wilson. I think you got to get pressure on him. And that's something that the Bengals have done a great job doing. You even talked to Zach Carter about how important those pressures are. That's going to be an important factor in this game. He also talked about the run lanes with Josh Allen. You got to limit those explosive run plays by stepping up in those lanes, stopping him, getting him on the ground, making the tackle against him, and getting physical with them. I mean, obviously they do try to protect quarterbacks, but Josh Allen isn't a guy that shies away from contact. And I've yet to see guys really step up and be really physical with him. So I think that that's also a part of this, especially with that AFC North brand of football. Obviously, forcing that pressure on him can lead to turnovers, a turnover differential. Josh Allen, this dude takes a lot of ill-advised throws. Like, he likes to force stuff downfield. The offense that Ken Dorsey has given him is predicated on the big play. Really what they want to do is blow you out. Every game, they just want to jump up on you. They want to hit you with these big plays. They want to put their foot on your neck. And what that ends up doing is leaving them susceptible to interceptions. I mean, I was listening to Greg Cosell earlier today. He talked about how many ill-advised throws he's seen from Josh Allen that no quarterback ever really makes. And he's just like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So forcing him to go into a mode where he's quote unquote what the Buffalo Bills fans say is bored. No, it's not him being bored. Greg Cosell called it. He said the first two, the interception and the fumble were both things that were on Josh. That's what you got to try to get him into. Bracket Diggs, make sure that you try to control him. And then the other guy that I think a lot of people may be sleeping on is Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is a good tight end. This dude has had 5 consecutive games with a touchdown. They got to try to slow him down. I know we talked earlier about Trey Flowers being on the rehab field, so that may mean that Dax Hill or somebody else has to step in for him. Slow him down. You're never going to stop these guys, but if you slow them down, don't let those guys get behind you and beat you in Diggs and Gabe Davis. I think you're good. Zim, what are your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, the Dawson Knox one is a matchup that I think a lot of people aren't really paying attention to it as much as they should. Josh Allen is a quarterback that the Bengals haven't seen, and they haven't seen a quarterback like Joe Burrow either. So it goes hand in hand. I think that the Bengals style of winning this game probably looks like in the 20s. The Bills absolutely want to blow you out because their plan is to get up on you and go crazy, and then allow their defensive line to get home and not have to blitz and then stick to that stuff. And that's the game plan that they've been going out since week 1. The Bengals defense, I feel like, has to be disciplined. I feel like Zach Carter just gave us the game plan, honestly. like stand disciplined and get gaps. Make sure that when he goes to step in that A and that B gap, right, and when he's talking about in the center, in between the guard and the tackle, between the guard and the center, in those areas, that's where Josh wants to step up And the Bengals have to be really smart about collapsing that pocket. And I think if they could do that, they'll be fine. I think our linebackers are a lot more physical and bigger than what those guys are, like the Deion Joneses of the world and all them dudes that are in Miami or whatever. Like Logan Wilson is not small. Pratt is not small. These are 250-pound linebackers that can run. Josh is probably faster than them, but I think that their awareness skills and everything like that and the way that they are built is to go sideline to sideline. So I really think that bodes well in our favor. The one thing that I harped on all week is the fact that the Bengals in their game with the Ravens, this is a formula that the Bills can't use, or I don't think they would want to use. But if you're running the football successfully, then you're pounding the clock. The Bengals are currently the second most time of possession team in the NFL. I believe the Bills are like 17. Their game plan is not to sit on the ball. It's none of that. It's like a run and shoot, fly type of thing. And in my mind, I'm like, when you do that, that's how the Dolphins game was even close. Skylar Thompson had 15 possessions. Just so y'all know, the Bengals and Ravens game had a total of 16 possessions between the two teams combined. In the Bills and the Dolphins game, the Bills had 16 possessions. The Dolphins had 15. If you gave Joe Burrow 15 possessions, you're losing. Like, it's not even gonna be close. And then so they'll say, well, we'll run the football. I saw that you don't want to run the you tell people you want to run the football and say you do run the football. Are you scoring touchdowns is the name of the game. And if you don't score touchdowns, now you know when I get the ball, now I'm taking my time with it. Now your possessions are limited. That's why running the football is super dangerous for a team that gets most of their points from passing. That sounds cool to say as a fan, but if you're running the football throughout the game, look at them when they ran for 250 yards on the Bears like 2-3 weeks ago. It was a low-scoring game for the first half of that football game. They were running the football, but they weren't getting touchdowns early in that game. In the second half, they snap into it. If they do something like that with the Bengals, I just think it's a recipe for them to be behind by 2 scores for most of the game. And I think both teams are capable of coming back in both circumstances. But Lou Deeney is going to make sure that Josh Allen has to throw accurate passes in between different spots on the field. And if he could do that for a whole 4 quarters, then Lou Anarumo is going to make sure he sees. We're going to drop 7. We're going to do a lot of different things that we did in the Mahomes game. And I just think that from a completion percentage number, he's cooked in that regard. Now, him making big plays, that's the story of the game. Working himself down the field is not something that he's capable of doing for 4 quarters to me. And that's something that Joe Burrow would love to do. He doesn't care. So those are the things that I think you kind of feast on it. The Bengals in the last 4 games have 6 turnovers. And then Josh Allen has 22 turnovers, which leads the National Football League as far as quarterback goes. So the Bills fans will be like, why y'all keep on talking about turnovers like we're going to turn the ball over every time? Because you lead the league in turnovers in that regard as far as Josh Allen. Hello. And then the Bengals cause lots of turnovers. So naturally, I think that's a function of the game. It's not everything. But if they do get those turnovers, I do think Joe Burrow is going to make them pay for it. And likewise, I think nobody's talking about if Joe Burrow has a turnover. Think about the games that he has had turnovers, like the interception in the Lamar Jackson Week 5 game, the turnovers that were in the Browns game, the turnovers in the Steelers game. Those are 3 games where the catalyst in us losing was Joe Burrow having turnovers, whether it's a tip pass or anything, because you got this other team that is able to score points as well, too. So let's see. You know, the Steelers is kind of crazy, though, because there's a lot of turnovers and whatever. But let's see how it plays out, though. I think it's going to be an excellent game.
Definitely. Speaking about how things play out, let's talk about the prop bets. Over or under 48.5 combined points for the Bengals and Bills. And what you thinking?
That's right where I'm at. Hold on, what 27 plus 24 is what, everybody? Isn't that 49 or something like
You put everybody
is that 51?
I know 24 plus 24 is 48. I don't know. You said add, so we added 27, 3, that's 51. That's 51.
Yeah, it's 51, right? Yeah. I would bet the under, but I think the score is going to be like 27-24 or something like that. I would bet that. It's hard for me to bet like over 40. That's a crazy game to me. And
these
what
are
these
two
do,
explosive offenses. It's
but
gonna
these
be
are
one
two
inch
good
of snow.
defenses too, though.
It's good
You see them?
defenses, but the way that these dudes are gonna be going at it, I'm gonna take the over, man. I really do. I respect the defenses, but
Right.
seasons on the line, like both of these dudes gonna come out trying to cook. Like both of these offenses are explosive. You know, it's guys on both sides. I'm gonna take the over in this one. Over or under 1.5 Bills turnovers. They're gonna be mad watching this one. But
I'm gonna take
like
the
you
over.
said, I think I'm gonna take the over too, bro. I mean,
I'm
one
gonna take the over.
turnover. They could try to be cautious. It has been a talking point in the media. Everybody's talking about it, but I agree with you when you say that's just who he is, bro. He's gonna take those chances. There's a lot of pressure on them with them being the favorites. I think the Bengals defense. I know that I just have a feeling, bro, that I'm gonna see Jesse Bates pick one off in this game. I was saying that before he made the bet with Pat McAfee. But
I can see
go with
Von
over
Bell.
two.
I think Von Bell is going to be a guy that makes an impact. I think it's a Von Bell game. It's absolutely got to be a Jesse Bates game. To me, I'm telling you, I thought about this and we talked about this so much. If Jackson Carman holds his own, the Bengals win this game.
For sure.
Like that's the key.
Yeah. That's a major key. Keeping him upright, getting communications, limiting penalties with those guys being in backups in there. Major key. More total touchdowns. So this includes rushing, which both of these guys get rushing touchdowns. Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. I'm gonna take Joe Burrow in this game, man. I think Joe Burrow has a chip on his shoulder. It's crazy how the narrative has changed now because at the beginning of the season it was a lot of people saying Josh Allen over Burrow. Now it's starting to change. I think Joe still wants to cement that and go out and prove it. So I'm gonna take Joey B.
I'm going to be a homer. I'm just putting good energy in the air. It's just saying Joe Burrow. If I wasn't a Bengals fan, I'd probably be saying Josh Allen, though, because I just feel like the big playability, like we have it too. And I think people are going to see it. I think we talk so much about like Joe Burrow being patient and methodical. Like people don't understand. Like he will air it out if he gets a chance. Right. He just hasn't had a chance because there's been all these cover two looks. This is the one team that's been shown it to. But I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow just to put good energy in the air. I wouldn't be surprised, Bengals could still win in a Josh Allen scenario, but I'm gonna go Burrow.
Speaking of putting something in the air, let's talk about that Ravens pack, man. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
Ravens pack kid. Welcome, Wincinnati Pod. I got my man Fisher Cross. I call him the Ravens Pack Kid. He is here. I don't know if Fisher goes by a different nickname after this or whatever. How you doing, Fisher? What's going on, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just hanging out down here at my dad's restaurant, 21 at the Frederick in Huntington, West Virginia. So just kicking it, chilling, talking to my guy Zim.
I see that on the screen right there. There's a kid that's on there that everybody thinks is a kid. Can you please let the people know? Because I was on Instagram. I posted, the picture of you. And everybody, as soon as they said why is this kid out there smoking cigars? Where are his parents at? I don't know if you heard that, but what was your first reaction, I guess, to that point?
Well, first of all, I'm 27. And second of all, my dad was sitting right next to me. So I don't know how they got me by myself because Dad was with me all day. So I don't know exactly how that worked out. They got the camera on me perfect, I guess. But no, it was awesome. First reaction, I was sitting there just puffing on my stogie, hanging out, having a good time. And before I started working in medical device, I worked for men's basketball at Marshall. I was the assistant director of ops. And one of my coaches called me and was like, "Hey man, how's your cigar?" And I was like, "Huh? How you know I'm smoking a cigar? I'm in Cincinnati." He was like, "Bro, they just had you on national TV. Mike Tirico was breaking down you hitting the cigar." And I was like, "What?" And so then everybody started sending it to me. I got on Twitter. It was on Barstool. I was like, "Oh boy." So
insane. Like you gotta walk me through a couple of different things. So at this point, the game is now over. I'm betting it. Maybe it was super stressful for you, like it was me. I wasn't at the game, but I was super stressed. Like, why did that happen? Like, that daggone Hail Mary went in the guy Pro Shay's hands.
Crazy.
Like, I don't know if you saw that at the game, or I know a lot of people tell me afterwards, they're like, yeah, I didn't realize it was that close. So then you break out the stogie and then you got your eyes closed. Like, walk me through the emotion at that part.
So to give you a full background, so last year when I was working with basketball, we beat the Chiefs week 17. That was awesome. Chilling at the house. I bought tickets right as soon as that game was over for the playoff game. My dad and I went to the Chargers playoff game. I go to a couple games every year. And all I wanted to do was be in that stadium last year when we beat the Raiders. And so the schedule comes out while the Chargers and Raiders. I know everybody was there except me. But the schedule comes out during the Chargers Raiders games, and they had us on Saturday. Well, Marshall had a game on Saturday that I had to be here for, so I had to sell my tickets to the Raiders game. And after that game, I was happy as hell. I was crying, having a good time, in the locker room. Everybody was making fun of me because I had tears rolling down my eyes right after we actually lost to Rice that day. But anyway, that's separate and aside. So that's been a year in the making. I wanted to do nothing more than to be there in the playoff game and chilling, just taking it all in. Have my dad with me. It was awesome. And we sat at the Yard House and started drinking it, I think, 1 o'clock. Sat there until 7:15, chilling, throwing back. The day was definitely sponsored by Tito's. So anyway, we had a blast, and so the ball goes off of Proche's hands, and I look at my dad, and I was like, "Give me your lighter." He was like, "For what?" I pulled a stogie out of my pocket, and he was like, "How long you been saving that for?" I was like, So I lit that thing up, bit the end off of it. I saw somebody say that on Twitter. I was like, yeah, I did bite the end off of it. But anyway, just reflecting on how proud I am to be a Bengals fan right now. Joey B, Zach, T, Jamar, the whole squad, man. They're just so much fun to watch. It's so much fun to be a Bengals fan right now. And I was just so thankful to be there with my dad. It's a day I'll never forget. And it's definitely a moment I can't forget now because NBC caught me slipping.
Man, I just thought it was like, I have a ritual where I smoke after some victories myself.
I've seen it.
It hadn't been a stogie, but I just thought like, man, I vicariously lived through you in that moment when I first saw it. I mean, I was like, bro, I'm about to use this to the end of time. Like anytime a Ravens fan says anything to me, I'm like,
hey,
bro,
they remember they too.
Bro, like I just thought bro, like you could use that as a meme for any Raven fan that ever plays with you ever again in life. You'd be like, bro, like I packed you out, like and sent you home, bro.
24-17, never forget that.
24-17.
That L went back home.
It went back home, bro. Like I don't know. I thought the game itself was, in hindsight, everybody's like, man, it's a divisional game, and like. In my mind, I just thought the Bengals would win by like 2 scores. Like maybe not a blowout, but like 2 scores. And to see you like kind of hitting a stogie and just like eyes closed, it did something for me.
It got pretty wild there. Jonah goes down, and then Jackson Carman, everybody's favorite player, comes in the game, and it's like, man, all right, what's going on here? And then we couldn't move the ball. But it's crazy, that defense, man, every time we start feeling like that, they make a play. And whether it's Jermaine, whether it's Logan, whether it's, obviously Jermaine, Logan, and Sam Hubbard running that thing back. But BJ ripping the ball out in New England a couple of weeks ago. I was at the Tampa game. The whole defense just stepping up. We get down 17-0, and then Joe comes out, goes down the field, gets that field goal right before half, and then all of a sudden it's off to the races. Defense doing their thing, offense doing their thing, and we win the game. We're never out of the mix, and that's the best thing about having Joe Burrow on your team is you're just never out. He's got that innate understanding of, this is when I got to make my move. San Fran last year, I thought we lost the game, but that's to me when I started seeing the makings of, all right, we got a team here because we were down that whole game, getting our ass whooped and not doing anything on offense. And then all of a sudden, Jamar goes crazy, Joe goes crazy, makes that crazy.
Bro, that's my favorite Joe Burrow game of all time. Like people be like, but y'all lost. I'd be like, bro,
Bro, he was
I was at Arrowhead and we were down 21-3. Joe Burrow's dad is like a couple rows up.
Eli making that play.
There's so many plays that you could go, but I tell people all the time, if you ever think that Joe Burrow isn't whatever, watch that 49ers game. Like the drive that sets that up, like they're pinned down at like the 5, and it goes like T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, like all three, like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, goodness gracious. Like, and it's one of those moments where I always look at that game. And I was at Arrowhead when we were down 21-3. All these people surrounding me in red, and you know, like they're dancing, they're happy at halftime and everything. Joe Burrow's dad's like 2 rows in front of me. We both had I looked at him, he looked at me, and we were just like, yeah, I think we're coming back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe I just seen it so many times, and a lot of people that don't watch a lot of Bengals games, they don't get it. And then you talked about the Pratt stuff. I honestly feel like this. Because Joe Burrow on the offense gets so many headlines, I don't think they're paying attention to the defense itself. And how the defense, in my mind, is like an extension of the offense. They came to the podium with Joe Burrow like a week or 2 ago when he did make that play, I think, against the Patriots. Or when somebody made, and they said, Joe, what do you think about when Pratt makes the play? Or I forgot who made that. Like, all my mind is like scrambling. BJ Hill, I think. He was like, I mean, it's time for them to make a play. Like it's almost like an extension of the offense. And so when people see it, you know, in the last 4 games, the Bengals have caused 6 turnovers. They're like, oh, y'all got lucky. But I feel like, no, like it's just part of their DNA.
Yeah, that's what we do. And, you know, I think that's why the Super Bowl hurt so bad last year was because Logan did make the play. You know what I'm saying? And the refs took it out of our hands, but he did make the play. And they always show up. They always make the play. And you know, that's why, you know, Buffalo's a good team. I'm excited for this game this week. My dad's going down. I can't go down. I got to go to a meeting in Orlando, but I got full faith in those guys to go up there and get it done. And, you know, we did it with the worst line last year, you know, and we went through, you know, Tennessee's defensive line was crazy last year. Yeah. And Buffalo's got a good line too, but I have full faith we're going to go up there and get it done because the defense doesn't let us lose. And Joe always has that timing. I don't know how he does it, but he's always got that timing of, I got to do it right now. It's either do or die, and he always seems to 9 times out of 10 makes the play.
I like the matchup, man. I really do. Like I know it sounds crazy, but I just think that the coverages that they play work in Joe Burrow's hands, and I think you got a glimpse of that on Monday night. Like there's only a couple of teams that have played cover 3. You know, the Bills play more cover 3 than any team in the National Football League. And when you get that cover 3 situation where you have single coverage on the outside, it's been the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, and then a little bit of the Jets game. We saw a good amount of it too. And then also we saw a little bit of it in the Dolphins game too. But every single time that he's gotten that single high safety look, Joe Burrow has made the outside cornerback pay. And I think that people aren't really paying attention to the scheme. They're just paying attention to the actual team. And I think the Bills team is equally as good. But if you give that much information to Joe Burrow pre-snap, it's just proven to be.
And the best part about this year for me has been just why, like, it doesn't matter. Play cover 2. Man up on Jamar if you want, but you're going to get cooked. Play cover 3. But, you know, at the start of the year, cover 2 was killing us. And, you know, the line was gelling and Joe was coming back off his surgery and all that good stuff. But later in the year, I don't care what defense you're going to play. Line up and let's run it. Like, Joe's going to cook you, I promise.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I wanted to ask you this before we transition to get out of here or whatever. Let me ask you this. I do want to ask you, how long had you said you and your father, you're at your bar. What's the name of the bar in West Virginia now?
21 at the Frederick.
21 at the Frederick. So if anybody's in the West Virginia area, make sure you get to the 21 at the Frederick with my man Fisher. How long have you been a Bengals fan? How did you get to the point where you are now? Like, you know, did you grow up in West Virginia or Cincinnati, or tell me that part?
Yeah, so I'm a lifer Huntington guy. I went to Huntington High, Marshall, worked for 9 years in the athletic department at Marshall. But my dad's a Bengals fan. My grandpa's a Bengals fan. And dad, you know, we went to games growing up always. And then, you know, it just is grown and grown and grown. And Carson and Chad, Ocho was my all-time favorite. Joe's creeping up there and Jamar's creeping up there. But Ocho's my all-time favorite. And just forever. I've always been a fan of the team. It was hard for a long time to be a fan of this team, but I've always hung in there with them and hung through all the BS that my friends tried to throw me when we were getting our head beat in and all that. But since Joe came, man, it's just been a different energy, different vibe. And nobody's talking mess to me anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're not going to. They'd be crazy to do that. Do you have any stogie tips since you won't be there in Buffalo to give people the sauce on the proper way to smoke your stogie on your victory laps at Orchard Park, I think at Highmark Stadium? You got any tips that you want to give people for preparation for lighting that bad boy up?
Man, just keep that thing in your pocket locked and loaded, bite that tip off and get after it. Just, my eyes were closed. I was just having a great time reflecting on everything, how happy I was to be in that moment right there. And obviously I had no idea I was on TV. I was just chilling, vibing, hanging out, living life, It'd have been a great day. I'm sure everybody's going to have a great day up in Buffalo, and it's going to get capped off by a Bengals dub. And just light that thing up, put it up in the air, and have a good time. Enjoy yourself always.
Man, I think that's one of the greatest moments. Like, I think people really, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all these different, they're all different. But I'm going to tell you, Instagram, them kids love, that's how we talk. That's how, it's like, well, we're going to pack those boys up. And to see that, oh my God, I'm telling you, for the rest of my life, I'm never going to forget that moment and forget it. And I thought it was people have got to understand, the younger Bengals fan that doesn't know about the 90s and stuff like that, they're going to remember moments more so like this. And I think it's really important. Do you have, I want people to know, to be able to follow you. I'm going to be posting it too. Can you tell people what your Twitter is or where they can find, how to reach you on the social media standpoint?
Yeah, my Twitter is cross41mu. My Instagram is fishbegolfing, big golfer. Yep. So those are my two. Obviously, Fisher Cross on Facebook. But before we get off of here, I want to give you a shout out, Ace, and then my guys over at Hear That Podcast, Growlin, Paul and Jay, James and Jake on Locked On. Y'all have really changed the culture around the Bengals, around Cincinnati. I'm an avid listener to all you guys, and I just really appreciate the work you do. The Browns, obviously, Katie, Elizabeth has done a phenomenal job since she came back. I mean, that atmosphere, going to games a couple years ago, the last time Tom played in Cincinnati when he was with New England, my boys, two of them are diehard Patriots fans, and they wanted to go to the game. I was like, man, I don't want to go up to that game. Right. The only reason I went was because Tom Brady was playing there for his last time, but I was just kind of like, man, Andy's going to get his head beat in. We're not very good right now. I'm waiting on Joe. I was waiting that whole year on Joe. And so, now to watch it all come true, but to be in that pregame setting with the light show and the guitar going crazy, playing Welcome to the Jungle. And it's so awesome. And I went down to Tampa. Dad and I went up to Pittsburgh for Sunday night. And our atmosphere is second to none. People don't know what we have going on in Cincinnati right now. And it's
people
all
sleep on that.
Browns. It's all you guys. Just the whole culture. Bengals Twitter is awesome. And like I said earlier, man, I'm so proud to be a Bengals fan right now. It's just a blast.
Man, I appreciate you. And I think that was really dope for you to say too, because a lot of this stuff, me and Ace are doing, when we created Wincinnati, it's just I created a brand called Burrow Babies because I just understand there's a new culture of Bengals fans. I don't care if you're a bandwagon or not. I don't care. It's just a new set of people that are going to be able to watch this team from a different vantage point, and they don't have the PTSD of some of our family members that are a little bit older or whatever. Like me, I'm a little
Jeremy
bit older.
Hill.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna always remember that, but I think moments like what you just created, I'm one of those guys. I'm gonna remember more things that help me a little bit more, or I'm more optimistic. I'm gonna be quick to talk about that moment more so than, I learn from mistakes or I learn from losses and I take it forward. I'd be like, yeah, but remember that time when my guy Fisher packed you guys up over there at Paycor? I'm telling you, I've used it on Ravens fans already. I only know a couple of that are my friends. I collected my cash apps after the game, but then I sent them pictures of you smoking the stogie, and I'm just like, bro, I could use this forever. Like, I don't know. So it's just like a different way to illustrate the times as now social media is moving forward. So I thought that was really dope that you pointed that out. Fisher, I got to get out of here.
Hold up one second. Here.
Come on in here, Pops. What's up? Come on up to the Wincinnati pod.
How you doing?
What's up? How you doing? See, he really does have a father, everybody. This is not a 12-year-old kid. Everybody, please let that go. Fisher actually has a father that was in attendance at the game.
Yo,
My boy.
You got anything you want to tell the Who Dey Nation?
Who Dey?
There you go.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
good one.
Man. Thank you, brother.
Man, that was a dope interview, man. I mean, that viral moment, everybody saw that one happening. I remember watching it live, and I was like, "Oh, it's so dope!" It just
I never saw it live.
I saw it live. I saw it like while it was on there. It's like,
bro, you so
Burrow,
lucky. I would have flipped.
It's the Burrow effect, bro. It's the Burrow effect.
I would have flipped if I would have saw that live. I would have flipped as soon as I left. You know, like I almost passed out. I was talking, you know, doing like a little back and forth with like people that, you know, just Bengals fans, and then somebody sent it to me. I was like, oh my God, who is this guy right here? Like, if I would have saw that live, I would have probably passed out on the floor, bro. It's probably a good thing I didn't see it live.
Nah, for sure. Bengals.
But shout out to my guy.
Shout out to Fisher Cross for sure. Shout out to his pops. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to get him in spaces or something like that. But
he said he's gonna jump into spaces, and also make sure everybody checks out the restaurant. I posted it's 21 at the Webster, I believe. I'm sorry if I just got that wrong. I just wrote it too. I'm so sorry about that.
For sure, but definitely make sure you guys stop by their restaurant. He's gonna be in Orlando. Maybe I might be able to try to get up with him while he's down here. But speaking of restaurants and cooking, let's toss it to Midwest Best Barbecue. Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue. And if you were lucky today and you stopped by for Touchdown Thursday, they gave away 6 free wings to the first 100 customers. Greg Luther was first in line. Shout out to Greg. He was here earlier. But check out Midwest Best Barbecue. They got all kind of flavors. Teriyaki they even have as well. Definitely be sure to get you some wings before the game. So good you need 50. That's not a lie. You might need to get 50. I think when me and Zim went, we almost got 50. So definitely be sure to check that out. Midwest Best Barbecue in Loveland, 669 Justice Court. Now let's talk about the other game in the AFC. Jaguars versus Chiefs. It kicks off Saturday, 4:30 on NBC. I think this is an exciting game, right? Like the Jaguars pulled the upset. Now it's Trevor Lawrence and Pat Mahomes. Some people are feeling like this game is just an automatic dub for Kansas City. They're kind of writing the Jags off, similar to people that wrote the Bengals off when they headed to Kansas City. I'm going to say this. It's a new day, bro. It's a new dawn. It's a new era. And I think it started with Pat Mahomes, right? When he came in, the guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, he kind of shook it up. But ever since then, you talk about the Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts, Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people forget when we took Joe Burrow, there was a debate going on like who was the better prospect between Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. And I think the fact that they have Doug Peterson too, a guy that came from Andy Reid's coaching tree that's familiar with his schemes, I don't know, bro. It just seems to me like this game might be a lot closer than people are thinking. I still slightly have the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags put off the upset. What are your thoughts on this game?
I'm with you. I think we're Bills and Bengals fans are gonna be like Duval. Like I'm with you. I feel the same way. I feel over the last 6-7 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has been playing really good ball. He had like one game, I think, right before the playoffs, I thought was like a little mid or whatever. But outside of that, I mean, I thought the kid, even at the 4 picks, comes storming back. I mean, that's the heart of a champion right there. And I've had my reservations on him. I knew coming into the season, I said, man, Jags, I thought would be like an 8-win team or something. So they went, and everybody was like, the Jags. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I thought it was a real volatile situation. They're playing with house money, nothing to lose. I think the Chiefs still eke it out. But if the Jags were to win, you know, there's no problem. I almost feel like they need to use a little bit of the formula Ravens use on me and let Travis Etienne cook. Yeah. If he can cook and run the ball and even just get like he's a difference maker in that game. And if they can let that happen and give themselves like some bit of a lead, that front over there, that Josh Allen and company or whatever, they can make some noise.
No, for sure. I think, like you said, Etienne, Evan Ingram was another dude. They got some guys over there. But that is going to bring us to the conclusion of this show. Thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to be coming back to you guys with a post-game show Sunday. So that will be to be determined, but we will be here Sunday just like we were last week. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here?
I want to say thanks again to Zach Carter and my guy, Mr. Cross. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys a shout out too. I appreciate them guys coming on in. All the people that are listening currently right now, make sure you tell everybody to check out the show. Make sure you tell them to give us a follow. If you're listening after the show is over, just make a comment. Run these numbers up. We need to get the numbers up so we can give you guys better guests. Make sure y'all go to newstripecity.com. He released the Gravedigger shirt. He released a lot of good stuff on his site recently, too. Make sure y'all go to newstripecity.com. On my end, I just dropped this about an hour ago. It's called Conquer the North. It's an extension of this one from last year where we've gone over the AFC North. I posted on my Twitter. Go to zimhude.com. On the back of it, it said they played us, but it's got Joe Burrow with the number 9, Deshaun Watson, Pickett, and Lamar. Bodied them, got them boys doing mock drafts. It's Wincinnati in this thing. Yes, Sersky.
Yes, Sersky. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Hushmanzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Time to be a Bengals
How do you
fan.
balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time, man. Yeah. Shock the world.